The legacy of stone, ancient Egyptian art and architecture. In the vast deserts of ancient Egypt, where the Nile River flowed as the lifeblood of the land, a civilization rose that would leave an indelible mark on human history. For nearly 3 millennia, from around 3000 BCE to 30 BCE, the Egyptians carved their story into stone, creating monumental works that spoke not only of their mastery of the material world, but also of their deep belief in the eternal. The Egyptians were a people fascinated with the afterlife. To them, death was not an end, but a transition to another realm, one that required meticulous preparation. Their art and architecture were deeply intertwined with this belief, serving as both practical and symbolic expressions of their journey beyond this world. The pyramids, stairways to eternity. At the heart of ancient Egyptian architecture were the pyramids, the most iconic structures ever conceived by human hands. These monumental tombs were not mere places of burial, but were designed as stairways to eternity. The largest of them all, the Great Pyramid of Giza, stood as a colossal testament to the power and ambition of Pharaoh Khufu. Rising out of the desert sands, its limestone blocks gleamed under the Egyptian sun, each stone placed with such precision that it was believed to be a bridge between earth and the heavens. The construction of such massive structures required not only a deep understanding of mathematics and engineering, but also a workforce of thousands. Contrary to the popular myth of slave labor, the pyramid builders were skilled workers who were well-fed and respected, working in shifts to complete these royal tombs. Their efforts were rewarded with eternal glory, as the pyramids ensured the pharaohs' souls would live on forever. Temples to the gods, sanctuaries of power. As the pyramids stood as tombs for the kings, the temples of Egypt were dedicated to the gods. These temples were not just places of worship, they were the heart of the nation's religious and political life. The temples at Karnak and Luxor were among the most impressive. Here, massive columns carved with intricate hieroglyphics soared toward the sky, their walls adorned with scenes of gods, pharaohs, and the ever-present Nile. The temple was a sacred place, a reflection of the divine order. At the center of each temple was the inner sanctum, where the statue of the god or goddess resided. Only the high priests and the pharaoh himself could enter these hallowed chambers, performing rituals and offerings to maintain harmony between the gods and the people. Every part of the temple had symbolic meaning. The towering pylons at the entrance represented the mountains of creation, while the ceiling often depicted the night sky, filled with stars that guided the souls of the dead through the afterlife. The entire temple complex was a model of the universe, with the Nile's life-giving waters flowing nearby, representing the primordial waters of creation. Sculptures and carvings, eternal stories in stone. In the shadows of these great monuments, ancient Egyptian artisans worked tirelessly, chiseling the stories of their world into stone. Their sculptures were not mere decorative pieces. They were imbued with life, designed to house the ka, or spirit, of the person they depicted. Statues of pharaohs, gods, and animals were created with rigid symmetry, their faces serene and unchanging, gazing into eternity. One of the most famous of these sculptures is the Great Sphinx of Giza, with the body of a lion and the head of a pharaoh, symbolizing strength and wisdom. Carved from a single block of limestone, it has stood watch over the desert for thousands of years. Its purpose still debated, but its grandeur undeniable. The walls of tombs and temples were covered in detailed carvings and hieroglyphics, telling stories of great battles, royal achievements, and religious rites. These carvings were often accompanied by vibrant colors, though much of the original paint has faded over time. The scenes were not only historical records, but also magical texts, designed to guide the dead through the perils of the afterlife and ensure their safe passage into the realm of the gods. The art of immortality. Ancient Egyptian art and architecture were far more than expressions of beauty or power. They were tools of immortality. Every statue, every hieroglyph, every pyramid was created with the afterlife in mind. The Egyptians believed that as long as a name or image of a person existed, that person would live on forever. This belief in eternal life is what drove the Egyptians to create such monumental works, leaving a legacy that would outlast empires, languages, and time itself. As the centuries passed, the sands of Egypt shifted, covering many of these great works. But even as the world changed, the pyramids remained, silent witnesses to a civilization that mastered the art of eternity. Today, the towering,